freedom's the answer. What's the question? You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now.
Oh, what's Dr. Paul saying? He's going, hey, you know what we need to do? We need to start using gold and silver as currency. Yeah, we're way ahead of it on our wallet voting and the Silver Bullet project we're working on. I just saw this article we put up on Freedom's Phoenix, and I sent Dr. Paul a link to our wallet voting thing, saying, man, we're with you, brother. We're gonna have some fun with this. That's a project we'll be starting early January with the gun shows and so on. You go to this article on freedomsphoenix.com right now. Ron Paul. Fed monopoly could be broken if Americans use gold and silver as currency. Well, you know, at the bottom there, it has a link to the video that we did that we were talking about how we're going to do it here in Arizona and spark another revolution in currency. And we have, you know, the junk silver. It's already there. And I got to tell you this. This is good. I get up this morning. And, you know, just sometimes I'll just, turn on TV, put on CNBC and see what cheerleading BS they're spreading. And they're talking about they want to put limits on your positions in commodities. Now, there was a deadline that was yesterday or something they were going to do to change the commodity rules, and they kind of missed it, and they're going to do. But they've been talking about this, and I put up a link that has a bunch of Casey research, Doug Casey and Casey Research there. They have a lot of authors that were talking about. I never even heard of this. I don't know how I missed this thing, but we got it up there, all the history on it. Now, this is what's going on. They're going to limit how much commodities you can get at one time. Yeah, I smell some JP Morgan on that one. Yeah, they're worried about this currency thing. You know, people just go into silver and start bartering. So we're getting right in the middle of that. And I'm like, hey, man, take out Max Kaiser. He did it first, man. I didn't do it. I'm just piggybacking. All right, let's go ahead and finish with Thomas here. Now, the one thing that I want to get to is, you know, I understand all of your arguments, and it's like maritime law, admiralty law, common law, this, you know, where are you at, how you fit in that, and we'll do a show, okay? I've heard this stuff for years, and we'll go through it and detail it, and we'll get some people, the Patriot guys that have been doing this for a long, and they got away with it for a long time, too. They got away with a lot of this stuff for years, and then they would just change. In fact, they have what they call Patriot judges. When they get these, they are assigned these cases because they're kind of covered in some way. They could go, yeah, I don't care what the Constitution, boom, guilty. I mean, now what are you going to do? So this is, the state and the people kind of going at it, certainly here in Arizona, I'm sure a lot of other places too. Well, Thomas, they got a new tact on this. They're filing stuff, and they have to go out of the county. A lot of times, in fact, one of my other friends, Mike Duggar, used to be state chairman of the Libertarian Party. He's a postal carrier here in South Phoenix, and he filed this stuff, and they go, the Secretary of State, Wes Bennett, has said that we can't take this, we're returning everything, you can't do it. So he's going, really? Well, you just have to do it, any county in the country. Well, come to find out, Nevada is taking this stuff, and if you want to get it, we'll talk about the details of what you're filing and so on, and then we'll get all complicated, and we'll make sure you get pen and paper later. But what they do is they go, yeah, we'll take it, and, it's free or a couple of bucks, and you'll get it in a month, or if you want it in a week, we can expedite it. That'll be there. If you want it done right then, 120 something bucks, and we'll do it right now. So they're going, yeah, we know people filing this stuff. We're making money. So that's why Delaware and Nevada, they're a little bit more off the grid, and they, play the game a little bit differently. So, they'll get their stuff filed. So you're in the back of the car. They got all your stuff on the hood. They went through they got your ID. Okay, now they're writing you the ticket. You sign it as, under duress, kiss my butt, whatever. And, what were the parting shots? What was the end of the conversation? They let you go without a rubber hose whipping or something? I mean, what's going on?
Well, the last thing he said to me was, don't ride your bicycle down the canal, because that's where I was, because as a sign says, no motor vehicles. And I went back to saying, hey, it's not a motor vehicle. It's a motor assist bicycle. It is not a motor vehicle. So they left, and then I just got on it, pull started, and oops, sorry. Anyway, so I just pull started and just rode off. I didn't drive, because driving is a legal term of being in commerce. You have to be in commerce in order to drive.
Okay. So what do you think they came away from this confrontation with you? They're like, he's one of them.
Probably. I mean, I've seen some videos about what the Southern Poverty Law Center has said about these constitutional sovereignty types. But one thing I'd like to make very clear is I don't want to get away with anything. I just want to have my rights. I want my right to be left alone. And unless you're...
And this is within an hour or two of coming from the Bill of Rights day at the Wrigley. Did you tell him that you had just come from there?
Yeah, and he goes, what, are you some kind of historian? I go, no, I just came from the presentation at the Wrigley Mansion.
They don't want to show up in court on this one.
It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. I wanted to share this story with you because, you know what, if you keep doing this, it's always at the right time. You know what I mean? It's always, they just got the wrong guy. And that's one point that we make when we deal with the officers and we're going to be doing some kind of event like, that, exercises our rights and so on. I'm going, if you guys get all this chest out authority thing, what's going to happen is you're going to come up against one of these guys that will assert their rights. They'll want to have it defined. They'll want the court to make sure that it's clarified what they can and can't do. And what it really does is that it's not like you get away with anything. You're just defining what they are and what they're doing, and we learn different. Now they'll change the rules. They always change the rules. Because they can. Yeah, that's right. So once you understand that, I'll tell you where that came from. I got to tell you this story. We lived in the 90s and up until like 2000. My family, we lived in a poor section of town in what's called Sunny Slope. And we had our restaurant. We'd always leave later at night. My wife and I and the kids sometimes, depending on what night it was, we would be driving home. Well, we drive home. It's usually at least 10 to midnight, depending on the day. Well, if you're going through this part of town and it's late at night, you're getting stopped for something, So we would constantly be stopped. If there was an officer, man, they're pulling you over for whatever they make up. One time, they pulled us over, and my wife, this is daylight, they had always stopped us, and you get a little ticket, or they let you go, or they want to see whatever money they can make. Well, one afternoon, it was daylight, and it was afternoon, it's our day off. Me and my wife were driving somewhere down one of the main roads there near our home, and they come in and they pull me over and they walk up to the window. And Donna, if you know her, she's very mild-mannered, man. She no confrontation. But from the passenger seat, all of a sudden she gets all riled up and she goes, "Why are you always pulling us over? We never do it." I mean, she just goes off on the officer, and he's kind of like, and I go, "Whoa, man, this is not going to end well." I'm the one over here by the gun, So I'm going, his, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, I go, "Honey," I go, "because they can." "I'm sorry, officer. Now, what did you want? Just keep her quiet." And it just clicked in my mind, and you could see it in the officer's face. Well, yeah. Because I can. So it just makes it much clearer what you're dealing with. At the time, we were going to a church in North Phoenix to where there was one of the couples, he had just started in the police academy. And as we became friends and so on, but you could see him change. He was kind of more of a shy, mild-mannered kind of guy, a nice guy. By the time he got done with the police academy, man, he was all chest out, authority, we can do it. And he was bragging about how they use any little infraction, or whatever they say that they can do, that you didn't use your turn signal far enough between the interchange, whatever excuse they can, we can pull anybody over we want. We follow them long enough. And he's proud of it. Yeah, we get them. Get you. Yeah. You think that attitude doesn't apply to a wider and wider group of people to include everybody? So that's where "because they can" came from. It's just, because they can. So I'm looking at, what the atmosphere was. We had the Wrigley Mansion, a beautiful place. A lot of elected officials are there. We have a guy from Cato. We have somebody running for president, Gary Johnson, and we have reenactors that were there. There's one guy that was dressed up for, I can't remember who it was, but this guy, Patrick Henry, he had stuff to say, and I've heard him before, and it was given the real history of the Bill of Rights and how it came about. These GOP guys, they didn't like it none too much. In fact, after Gary Johnson got applause for the positions he was taking against the drug war and the war, a lot of elected officials, "It's time to leave. I don't want to be associated with these guys anymore." And then they got Thomas. What an appropriate day. We'll talk about more when we come back.